I didn't even realize I was holding my breath until the glass in my hand trembled. The office party buzzed around me, laughter and clinking glasses filling the room like background static, but all I could see was her, my wife, Emma, leaning a little too close to Mark, her colleague. His hand brushed hers accidentally, or so it looked, and I felt a pulse of ice in my chest that no rational explanation could soothe. I told myself I was overreacting. It was a party, people mingled, and Mark had always been overly friendly. Emma laughed at something he said, tossing her hair back, and my stomach twisted. The way she smiled, it wasn't the warm smile I knew from home. It had a shimmer to it, an edge, a spark I hadn't seen before. My fingers tightened around the rim of my glass until the condensation cut into my skin. I drifted closer, letting the crowd and the music obscure my approach. I didn't want to start a scene, but I needed to hear the words, to confirm that what I feared wasn't just paranoia gnawing at my mind. "You've really outdone yourself this year," Mark said, low enough for only her to hear. His hand lingered near hers, hovering in that dangerous space between flirtation and betrayal. Emma's laugh was soft, but there was something in her eyes, a tiny flicker, that set off alarms I couldn't ignore. "Thanks," she said, brushing past him and glancing toward the buffet, deliberately avoiding my gaze. My heart stuttered. Avoiding me? Already? I wandered around the room, nursing my drink, feeling the pulse of anger and disbelief thrum through me. I remembered the little things she had been doing lately, checking her phone with a nervous edge, brushing past me with a flutter of anxiety, smiling at texts she didn't want me to see. I had rationalized it all, work stress, social fatigue, nothing serious, but now the threads started unraveling in front of me. Mark leaned closer again. "I didn't think you'd come tonight. I almost didn't invite you." His words were coated with something intimate, too intimate, the kind of thing you don't say to someone's spouse at an office function unless you mean to cross a line. Emma's eyes darted toward me, fleeting and guilty. And then, she looked away, biting her lip, pretending to check the glass of wine in her hand. That hesitation, that tiny pause, was enough. I felt my stomach drop as the world narrowed to just the two of them. The air felt heavy, thick, almost suffocating, and I realized I couldn't stand there pretending I wasn't seeing it. I stepped forward. My presence was sudden enough that Mark froze, caught mid-smile, and Emma's face went pale. "Hey," I said, voice low but firm, carrying through the music somehow. "Oh, hey," Emma stammered. Her hand dropped from his arm, the connection severed as if nothing had happened, but I saw the tension in her shoulders, the rapid rise and fall of her chest. "Enjoying the party?" I asked, and it sounded more like a challenge than a question. Mark gave me a tight smile. "Yeah, just catching up with Emma here." His eyes flicked toward hers, a flash of irritation that he'd been interrupted. Emma's lips pressed together. "We were just talking." Her words hung in the air, fragile and transparent. I nodded slowly, though my mind raced. I wanted to scream, to tear into both of them, but a cold rationality held me back. I needed proof, something undeniable. My chest ached with a mix of fear and fury, and my hands shook with adrenaline. I retreated to the edge of the room, watching. Mark didn't leave. He hovered near her like a predator claiming territory. And Emma, my Emma, laughed at his jokes, touched his arm lightly, glanced at him with an intensity I'd only ever seen directed at me in our early, golden days. That memory, warm and distant, now felt like a cruel joke. I told myself to stay calm, to observe, to gather evidence before letting anger dictate my actions. But every laugh, every brush of skin, felt like a dagger carving through years of trust and intimacy. I thought of our home, our quiet nights together, the promises whispered under blankets, the dreams we'd built as a team. And now, watching her, I wondered if those memories were real or just a comforting lie she had told herself. I slipped out of the crowd, moving toward the balcony for a moment of air. The chill cut through the warmth of the room, and I closed my eyes, trying to steady my racing thoughts. How long had this been going on? Was it just flirtation, harmless in her mind, or something darker, something she had hidden from me for weeks, months? When I returned, I saw them again. This time, Mark's hand rested lightly on her back as they laughed at some joke I couldn't hear. Emma's head tilted, her eyes meeting his in a way that made my chest constrict. It was not the innocent glance of a colleague, It was intimate, deliberate, loaded with a connection I had been blind to until now. I felt a sudden, searing urge to confront them, to drag the truth out into the open. But then she looked up at me from across the room, her eyes wide, startled, and guilt flashed across her face. That flash, it was the confirmation I needed. She knew. And in that moment, the betrayal crystallized into a reality I could no longer deny. I walked over, slow, deliberate, letting every step carry the weight of what I had discovered. "Emma," I said, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. "Can we talk?" Her eyes filled with panic. "Not here, not in front of everyone." I shook my head. "No, here. Now." My gaze swept Mark's way. "You too, Mark. Step back." The tension was electric. Conversations died around us. The music seemed to fade. Mark raised his hands, a mixture of irritation and caution flashing across his face. Emma took a step back, her hands pressed to her chest as if to shield herself. I looked at her, searching, aching. "Why?" I asked, and it was the simplest, hardest question I could ask. Not accusing, just raw, bare. Her eyes filled with tears, guilt spilling over like a dam breaking. I didn't mean for it to happen," she whispered. "It was just, I don't know. I didn't think." "You didn't think?" I echoed, my voice hollow, my stomach roiling. "Do you have any idea what this looks like? What it feels like to see you, like this?" Mark opened his mouth, but I cut him off. "You leave. Now." His smirk faltered, replaced by caution, and he backed away, disappearing into the crowd. Emma's sobs were quiet but deep. I felt a part of me crumble with every tear she shed. The woman I loved, the life we built, now teetered on the edge of ruin. She began again, but I couldn't bear to hear her excuses. My mind was a whirlwind of love and rage, heartbreak and disbelief. I wanted to hit, scream, cry, beg, but I couldn't decide which emotion deserved to take the lead. I stepped back, letting the party continue around us as if nothing had happened, the music and laughter a cruel mockery. "We'll talk at home," I said, voice tight. "Everything. I need the truth, Emma. No more hiding." She nodded, trembling. I'll tell you everything. I promise." I turned away, swallowed the bitterness, the betrayal, the despair, and made my way to the balcony. The night air hit me like a slap, cold and real. I couldn't forget what I'd seen, what I'd felt, but I also couldn't stop feeling the love that still lingered in my chest, the fragments of trust one hoped we could salvage, or the horrifying realization that some things, once broken, could never be the same.